And now, News 4's Weather Extra with Chief Meteorologist David Paul.
Welcome back to Weather Extra on this Tuesday evening. Ryan will be back tomorrow evening. Pop-up showers and thunderstorms all week long, at least so far. That will be changing as we go through time. Those lightning strikes have been intense over parts of the area. Lightning a big concern this time of year. For more on that, here is meteorologist Ryan Duggar.
Thunderstorms in the Wiregrass are very common this time of year, and of course that means lightning strikes are very common, but it's very eye-opening to see how many strikes can occur in a relatively small geographic area. This is data from NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, where they detect flashes that indicate lightning strikes. And for this portion where you see this red box right here, this is portions of southeast Alabama into the Florida Panhandle, including the Wiregrass. The meteorological summers between 1998 and 2014, they detected 19,119 flashes, again, which indicates lightning strikes, and that average per summer is just under 1,200 lightning strikes. So that is a ton over just 3 months per year, and that's why we likely see a lot of that activity. And along with that, it's important to know how to keep yourself safe, but also your homes, because direct and indirect lightning strikes can have an effect on your appliances and electronics, even damaging them. So direct strikes can actually overload your wiring, start fires, and also electrify your plumbing, which causes a hazard if you use running water. Indirect strikes can also overload electronics and even plugged-in items. So the best thing to do to keep your items safe is when storms are nearby, unplug them or completely shut them off when they're close by. And also when a storm is occurring, it's best to avoid running your water, and that includes showering, using the dishwasher, washing dishes, and also using the washing machine.
Yeah, we had a lightning strike at the house back in about 2010, living in South Louisiana. It took out the compressor for the AC unit outside and then the refrigerator on the inside. A very costly lightning strike. And speaking of lightning strikes, yeah, I was right there in Louisiana. There are a ton in that part of Louisiana, but a ton here as well. So this is a look at the annual lightning strike density from the Tropical Rainfall Measuring Mission satellite, the TRMM. And yeah, you can tell from Arkansas through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, into Florida, there are usually a lot of lightning strikes every single year. And sometimes they are deadly. You know, losing an AC unit or a refrigerator, no big deal compared to lives. And over the last several years, I mean, we always see these lightning fatalities. So in 2024, there were a total of 10 across the country, 1 in Alabama, 4 were in Florida, and the one in Alabama, OU, that is outside open areas. And then you look at Florida, OU, 2 of them were outside or in open areas. 1 UT under a tree, and 1 in Florida last year. 1 fatality was IW in water. So just a reminder to stay away from the outdoors if you can, if there's lightning in the area. Get indoors, in a building, get in a vehicle, a metal frame vehicle, not a convertible or a Jeep. You want that metal frame all the way around you. All right, as we go through tomorrow, still a few showers and storms popping up, but as we get towards Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, not much in the way of rain. Very limited activity, which is good because a lot of people will be outside during that stretch, maybe at the beach, maybe on a lake, maybe just in the backyard. Very limited lightning strikes for that period. That is some good news as we go through time. That tropical activity down to the south of us over the Florida Peninsula into the Atlantic. Meanwhile, on the backside of that circulation, we'll get some really hot air to develop in our area. We'll break down those temperatures coming up next.
And now, News 4's Weather Extra.
Welcome back, everyone. Some real heat is on the way to the Wiregrass. We gave you that first alert last week, so we'll give us a ding for that. The 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, really impressive across the eastern part of the country and the western part of the U.S. A very good chance of seeing above normal readings, and the upper level pattern is really the reason why. So that tropical energy off the coast of Florida, west, and then to the east as we go through time. Meanwhile, a ridge of high pressure builds towards us as we get towards Friday, kind of centered along the midsection of the country, Missouri, southward to Louisiana. As we go into the weekend and early next week, that ridge moves back to the east. And as we saw last week, that means really hot air as we go through time. Temperatures going above normal. So tomorrow, the last day with highs in the upper 80s to about 90. A few pop-up showers and storms, but very limited rain chances after that. So Thursday at 4 p.m., lower to middle 90s here as we get into Friday. Sunday, dry for the most part, 95 or so as we get into the weekend. 95, 96 on Saturday, even hotter to the west of us. Sunday, middle 90s. Then we get that bubble of high pressure to really push eastward for Monday. And that means the potential for upper 90s here, 96, 97, maybe a 98. And Wednesday looking pretty hot as well. This time of year, we can see some real heat. So going back in history, at least since 1965 in Dothan, some of the hottest July readings that we have seen. Back in July of 2009, we hit 105 degrees. That was a hot one. 2000, we hit 105. And in 1980, we hit 105 degrees. Back in 1998, 103. Back in 66, it was 103. 2010, 102. 81, it was 102. And then in 99 and back in 1986, the highest temperature in July was 101 degrees. So the potential is there to get really hot as we go through the month of July. Will we see that this year? Certainly a possibility. I'm not seeing it in the short term, but upper 90s within reach as we go into next week. And because it will be so hot, it is going to be dry. I mean, that's a rolling animation as we go through the end of this week, the weekend, and next week. So this is basically a 9-10 day forecast for rainfall. And across really Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, very little rain is projected to fall now. The exception will be the eastern part of Georgia, where we see that potential impact from that developing tropical-like area of low pressure. But man, the Dothan area, northward, Troy to Auburn, Birmingham, Selma, Tupelo, Starkville, Meridian, all these areas may not see much rain at all. And when you factor in the fact that it will be relatively dry and we'll have temperatures in the middle to upper 90s, you worry about one of these flash droughts developing where all of a sudden the top 2, 3, 4, 5 inches of soil moisture is just gone in the span of 7 days. So if you can, start watering those plants as we go through at least Thursday, Friday, every couple days to keep up with the evaporation loss that will be occurring. And the dew point temperature comes down a little bit too, so that will actually take out the moisture a little bit quicker from the soil. It is going to be dry. It is going to be hot as we head through the next several days. That's it for Weather Extra tonight. Ryan's back tomorrow night. It's Weather and Words Wednesday. We'll have a lot more coming your way at that point. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.